everyone, and welcome into this special episode of the Spot Mag podcast. I am your host, Crystal Swearingen, and I'm beyond delighted to introduce you guys to a lady that I've known, I'm going to say 15 years, for quite a while, Ms. Wendi Braden, the creator of Elevate Your Connections and a relationship marketing coach. Thanks so much for being a guest today, Wendi.
Oh my gosh, Crystal, thank you for having me. I am so excited to just sit here and chat with you for a little bit.
Well, if you guys, I don't know what you guys know about relationship marketing, but one of the things that Wendi and I were discussing before we started this podcast was how do we stay in contact beyond social media? We're in this new era as business owners and entrepreneurs. A lot of us rely on social media for some type of free or marketing, and with algorithms changing and people leaving social media, how are we able to stay in contact with them, and what are some best practices in order to do that? So I'm excited to have Wendi here so we can discuss that.
Oh, I'm excited. What do you want to know?
Everything.
Tell it all to me. Tell me all the secrets.
I think, one of the things that I've noticed is how do you make an impactful impact on someone when you can't see them? And I know that you've always used the product send out cards as a way to stay in touch. What is something that a business person or a mother, daughter, sister wants to do that they can stay in touch with someone?
And that's the key. And I think now even more than ever, because we've got this whole pandemic, right?
Yes.
And so we're forced away from what we were used to, which face-to-face. So lots of people, they would use digital technology to connect.
Mm-hmm.
But then what was happening was the more we used that digital interface that literally kept us away from face to face, the further away we became, right? And we became part of this background noise, the noise of social media, the noise of digital technology. And then all of a sudden throw in the pandemic, and now you've lost your face to face. And then just for fun, let's throw in some politics on social media. And now you hate the only thing that was keeping you together. So how do you overcome all of that, right? So more important than ever is relationship marketing. How are you doing the relationship? And this can apply to the mom who needs to stay in touch with her family members and friends. This can apply to the seasoned business owner who's now realizing that the way that they do business in a pandemic has massively shifted, and how do they keep up? It could be for a brand new, just starting out business person. How do you grow your contacts and your connections? How do you become just another person out there doing the thing? How do you create that relationship that's ongoing? Because it's the relationships that grow your network. It's the relationships that people will refer, because I know you, because I know and love so-and-so, you guys need to get together, or here's your solution. People will naturally connect to you when they have a relationship with you. So how do you do those things? Crystal had already mentioned that my biggest tool in my toolkit is this service called Send Out Cards. And long before it was cool to be online, Send Out Cards was an online service. I mean, oh my gosh, I found this company in 2007. They started in 2004. So this company's been around for a long, long time, and they continue to evolve. In short, Send Out Cards is a online greeting card and gifting service that lets you leverage technology. So I can get on my computer, I can get on my smartphone, I can choose a card, send my message. I can even voice to text. So I can use, all the bells and whistles. I can be as techy as I want to be, but then I can maintain that very intimate touch, from having my own handwriting in the system to adding a very personalized gift to the card that I'm sending out. And then I hit the send button, and the company does everything else for me. They print it, stuff it, stamp it, mail it, and it arrives in your mailbox, real, tangible, openable love mail that I promise you gets opened way before the bills. We call that triage.
Yes, it does.
Right? Bills go under the armpit, and you're going to take that package, that unexpected piece of mail. And the cool thing about envelopes, 100% open, right? You know,
Yes.
when you're measuring all your analytics, 100% open rate. Who doesn't open a greeting card? And you have that
And it's
opportunity to,
shaped like a greeting card. So you know it's not a bill.
oh, it actually is a greeting card. Yeah.
You know, what I love is, I do with the businesses, I do a lot of MailChimp or different and you don't get that return. Like you're lucky to get 33% of people who have subscribed opening it. But you're right. When you get something in the mail that's not a bill, you're very excited about it. And I will tell you guys, when I started this magazine, Wendi was so gracious. She sent me a card with the cover of my magazine on the front of the card. And it was the neatest thing ever because I was like, you saw what I did on social media. So you still use social media to stay in contact and to stay in touch, but took that and put it into something tangible that I have saved now at my office. So it's,
I love that. That gives me goosebumps.
oh,
So let me give the listeners a free trick of my trade. Okay. So, how do you leverage or combine social media with the tangible? And Crystal just hinted at this. This is one of the things that I do. So, my purposeful way to relationship market on social media is to very quickly see what's happening with my friends and those
mhm,
that I want to stay in contact with. And what do people typically post on social media? You post your wins, you post the
yes.
things that you're happy about, and you also post some of the things that are kind of a bummer, right?
Mhm,
Maybe grandma passed away. Maybe you lost a fur baby, right? So
yes.
you post these things. I pay attention to these posts and I'm going to grab whatever it is that you felt important enough to share on social media. And I am going to create a heartfelt card with that and send that to you. And
Oh,
here's what that does. I see you. I hear you. I want to celebrate you and be with you and connect with you. That is going to stand out and create more of a relationship that has a ripple effect for long into the future
yes.
than any marketing piece that you can do, than any blast that you can do.
Well, it's authentic and it's genuine. And we all get into a process where we just like things. Oh, I liked it, or I'm gonna do the take care or the heart. But that's that extra step. Like one of the things I think that we forget, the happy birthdays. You get their birthday notification like 8 a.m. every morning. You're like, oh, sometimes your happy birthday, sometimes you forget. I've tried to start calling people. Now with
See, that's another way.
your program, I could set up reminders to send the cards out, but people are always surprised when you go beyond the social media to stay in touch with someone. They're really surprised. Like, you took time to call me. Like, they don't know what to do with it
Right.
because we
So,
text so much as well. Like,
exactly, exactly. And you're inspiring me to go off script.
no, there is no script. There's never a script on the spot mag. we
Oh, perfect.
we go very organically with what feels right and sounds right.
So here's how this is going to play out in my coaching programs and in my workshops. One of the things that I teach that I have coined is called 3D. Have you 3D'd today? Have you
Taking
3
notes.
Yep, take notes. Have you 3D'd today? So let me tell you what that means to me and how I teach this and this concept that I created. We're familiar with this concept of gratitude. You know, it's
Mm,
kind of become one of those coin
it's a
things.
buzzword.
Yes, it's a buzzword. I'm cool. I do gratitude. But here's like when you strip it down, here's what this means. Gratitude is one of those vibrations that it's a supercharger. It attracts because what you send out comes back.
Hmm.
That just automatically happens. So good vibes produce more good things showing up. Gratitude is one of those superchargers. So when you are truly in gratitude about things, more things to be grateful for show up. Okay. So there's ways to be in gratitude. Some people say, oh, I have a gratitude practice before I even get out of bed. I take moments and, close my eyes as I'm waking up, I'm thinking about all the things I'm grateful for. Or as they're going to bed, I'm, thinking about all the things I'm grateful for. So I define that particular practice as one-dimensional gratitude. Okay, it's between you and source. There's nothing else happening there. That is just between you and source. And that is important because that is connection to source. However you define source for you, that is important. And to let source know that you want more things to be grateful for, right?
Yes.
So that's the thing. Another thing that I hear people say, oh, I journal about gratitude all the time. I always write down the things that I'm grateful for. What a way to amplify that one-dimensional gratitude, right? So then that's going to be called two-dimensional gratitude. So if you do gratitude lists, and I begin my day often jotting down just some shorthand about gratitude because it puts me in the right mindset before I go 3D with it. Because sometimes I think source reminds me what I have to be grateful for, or reminds me who I need to connect with. So I'll start by jotting that down. But again, that's two-dimensional gratitude. So I'm going to go with that analogy that we've all heard, that having a present, wrapping it up and not giving it to the person.
Yes.
Like, what is the value of that? So don't stop at 2 dimensions. Go ahead and make that a 3rd dimension. Send it out. So yes, it can be a text. But when I really want to supercharge it, and how I teach people is that needs to be a keepsake, because we don't do it enough. We don't get the tangible enough. And you think, oh, well, I don't have what it takes to create this keepsake. Words, that tangible word, that note card that arrives in the mail or tucked, in someone's book. Or, I put notes underneath the kid's pillow, but like something 3-dimensional, right? That it is a keeper. Think about ways that you can touch other people's lives in a 3-dimensional way. And yes, I'll loop it back around to send out cards. That is one of those amazing tools that you can 3-dimensionalize the gratitude in your life by touching other people physically.
Things happen for a reason. I do believe in source and God, and that's what I call mine. But it's so crazy because what was it? 2 weeks ago, I reached out to you about being on the show, and you've moved out of state. I haven't seen you as often. We did the vision boards a couple of years ago, which we're going to elaborate on in a minute. And I was like, I just need to have her on the show. I have to start the year with you and your energy. So I'm so hopeful that our listeners, especially, the entrepreneurs and the young women who are just starting their businesses, these are best practices. These are things that you would be paying someone to get that type of a lesson. So I hope you took notes, put it on a note card, keep it somewhere, put it in your purse, because gratitude is one of the top things you need to learn to be successful, in my opinion. My real estate company, I have them all reading The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. It's one of my favorite books. It's a parable. It just tells this amazing story. But what you said all lines up with where we have to be energetically, internally, with the source and with other people. So I just you said goosebumps earlier, like I literally got chills because I was like, okay, notes after notes already.
I love it. Yay.
So like I was just mentioning a second ago, Wendi moved to Colorado and left us here, but that's okay. You're doing amazing things there.
You still have my heart.
Oh, thank you. But she was, her and another lady, Daryl, had done a vision board retreat at my business, Crystal Spot. And it was so cool that I had a lady reach out to me a week or two ago and ask me if I was doing another one, because they've been seeking it. One of the things I learned from doing the vision boards with you, I've been doing them for years. I taught my kids to do them for years, is picking a word of the year. I had never done that. So can you explain a little bit more about the intention behind picking a word for your vision board?
It's so funny. My own personal story on that is, everybody on this who's listening can relate to the fact that when something comes across your awareness, and if we don't grab it right at that moment, right, at some other point, it's going to come across your awareness. You'll be like, oh, that's right. I heard about that. Yeah, I need to do that. And, if you keep not doing the thing, I feel like the universe is going to find a way to like grab the 2x4 and literally haul it across your face, right? Where at some point you got to listen to the thing. And for a number of years, I had heard about picking a word. And I would always be like, oh, yeah, whatever. I don't do that.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that did that.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't do that. And then I would hear about it again. I'm like, oh, that word thing. Yeah, that's just not something I do. Knock yourself out. You know what? I lost my mom in 2013.
Mm.
And it was devastating. It was unexpected. And I mean, it just leveled me. And it was going through that process that again, the stinking word thing came up.
Mm.
Like, okay. So at that point, what I had heard at that moment was, if you don't know how to choose the word, start by defining the most previous year. Okay. So start by looking back a year. That's your starting point. Look back. So at that point, I thought, well, worst year of my life. How would I define that year? And if I just came up with an authentic word that was not negative, but that truly described my process in that year, it was transformational. Like everything about losing my mom transformed my life. Now, all these years later, I could say, what a gift came from that. And by that, I do not mean it was a gift to lose my mom. Mm-hmm. But I mean that growing through that process and all those things, the gifts that came from growing through that loss, those turned out to be amazing things. But that first year was transformational. And I thought, all right, so I can name that year going back. Then what would my year looking forward be? What would I want it to be moving forward? And the word that grabbed me for that year, for 2014, was passion. If I couldn't do it with passion and it didn't bring me passion, my answer was no. I was in a place of like really purging and letting go of a lot of things. Relationships, oh my God, did I trim out social media? I needed it to be something that I could look forward to looking at versus, the garbage that it can sometimes be. And so that's how I continued to move forward with that. It becomes this powerful beacon that you can measure the rest of your year with. So if that word is out in front of you and you're moving toward that word, it helps you define your process. So Crystal, what is your word this year? Well, let's go back. What was your word for 2020?
Okay, so I will be honest with everyone because I try to be authentic. And that year you did the workshop at Crystal Spot, I was so busy trying to make sure everyone was good. I didn't even do a vision board. That was my first year ever not doing one, but I loved listening to everyone else's. And I did the same thing as you. It's like a word. I don't know about that. I don't know how to do that. So 2020 was difficult for me. I mean, I was in my second year of owning my real estate company, my second year of owning Crystal Spot, the magazine, the podcast, and then everything changed. So Crystal Spot is no longer open. So I've lost one business. I've got Crystal's Famous Cobblers, which was inside of there, that is still doing well, but it's not where it used to be. And then, it just kind of had to take a break because all of my things I've been doing since my divorce in 2013 were to build businesses or do these things. And then the whole world shut down. So I had to kind of redirect that energy. So one thing that I'm really working on this year, and that's why it became my word for 2021, is feeling deserving. Like deserving, feeling like I'm enough and I'm doing enough and it's okay. Like, because I've always had these goals that are, the top of they can be. Instead of saying, you know what, in the present, in the moment, I can be okay with this. And that was hard for me, but that's why it became my word for this year. So
I love growth words. I love words that remind you that you're in a place of growing through something. And if we're paying attention and we're being authentic with ourselves and showing up in the genius that only we can show up in,
Yes.
right? Then there's something to be learned and to come out so much more powerful, to come out so much more resilient.
Yes.
All of the things.
I like
so
that word too. There's so many good words to choose. And I would urge you listeners, like if you haven't done a vision board, I mean, I remember the first one. I'm going to do a little backstory. In 2013, when I got separated before my divorce, my girls and I moved to a rental. You know, we're starting over. I was 100% commission. I'm in real estate. I didn't know how we were going to survive, but I had faith. But I did the first ever like digital vision board. Like Oprah had her website where you could do it online. And I put that I was going to take my kids to see the ocean and the mountain. No idea how. I had no money. I had nothing extra. That year, I was able to take them to see the ocean. We went to Destin. I took my mom and sister. And then that December, one of my clients I had met through the year said, "Hey, come stay with us at our mountain cabin. I'll pay for you guys to come out." And we stayed in Big Bear. And I think it was because I had it in front of me every single day what life I wanted to give to my children. And I think that with women, especially business women, who are always trying to figure out how you can be at the top, or how do you not appear weak, or how do you stand strong and confident without being labeled as, I'll say the B word, because I don't know what the editing is for iTunes. So they have all these rules. But, and it's okay to be confident. It's okay to be strong. It's okay to be knowledgeable. And you do deserve a chance to be all those things and be authentic. So that's kind of why I chose the deserving word. So as well. So.
You know, and it comes back to vibration again.
Mm-hmm.
So that word is going to keep you in the vibration that you're looking for. Gratitude is going to keep you in that higher vibration. And then when you create those vision pieces, when you stay, think of radio stations, right? So when you're dialing up your dreams and desires, those are at the very best frequency.
Yes.
So you're never going to tune into those if you're focusing on the lack or the struggle. The frequency is wrong. So they're never going to align. So gratitude keeps you up here. Kindness keeps you up here.
Yes.
Love keeps you up here. Positivity keeps you up here, so you can be at the same frequency of effortlessly coming into contact with your, look at how that effortlessly happened. A client saying, "Hey, I don't know if you'd be interested."
I was shocked.
Come on over, I'll buy.
Yeah, she was like, "Bring your girls." And
example of vibrational alignment. That is so fantastic.
that was the first year I quit living in fear. And I was able to triumph the fear of being a single mom with 3 kids and making something for our lives. And I think I'm being real authentic with you people today. So it's kind of a little different. Wendi brings it all out of me. I feel like she should be my therapist. No.
I'm open, right?
There you go. I think because the frequency is good. We've got good energy going. But, you know, that's why I think I had struggles in 2020, because fear was allowed to start dominating my life again. And this was something I couldn't control. And I know that you and I talked prior to starting the recording, is how many people are not taking the opportunity to look at the things they can control. You were so gracious. You said you're one of those people that always looks at what you can do. And I typically am, but this year has been difficult even for me to find the bright side, with the racial unrest, the politics, the relationships with people. So I am very excited to see how 2021 we could become better humans. And it starts with me and how I raise my children and how we treat those around us in our community. So I don't even know where to go from that.
And I agree. Yes. You know, and it's interesting. I'll just point out for those that are listening to this, for me, I'm so well rehearsed at vibration. And just the word fear, like that has such a low vibration, right?
Yes.
I can just feel how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
So different, that word fear versus gratitude and love,
Yes.
and kindness and authenticity, like all of those things that just resonate up here.
Well, let's keep saying all those positive high
All
vibrations,
the
because
right juju,
is it like 72 positives to one negative? Like, I don't know the equation.
something like that. Yeah. For those that maybe aren't familiar with that process, it's a resetting process. It's the brain is literally a muscle that you can train.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if you're taking up walking for the first time, half of a block might be plenty. But if you
Yes.
keep doing that over and over again, you'll be extending your time, right? And the same thing is of that positive mindset. The more you maintain awareness of what you're thinking, the more you can be in control of that. I just recently heard a thing. I've heard lots of things. I think our mutual friend Jay Pryor would say, "Hi, Jack."
Yes,
If you
definitely.
find yourself thinking something that you don't want to be thinking, that's certainly a way to interrupt that flow. I recently heard something through the Abraham teachings, that whenever you find yourself going down a path that you don't want to go down mentally, that you say, cancel, 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 that you just actually say that out loud, and you replace it with the thing that you want in the direction that you want it to go. So, for example, instead of, maybe fussing about anything, your health, your job,
Mm-hmm.
things in the world right now, instead of having that be the focus, say cancel, cancel, cancel. And anything that you can say to replace that with. One of my favorite mantras, as I was kind of going through my own health renovation.
Yes, you
Which
look
is an
amazing.
inside, right? It's an inside job. I would remind myself, rather than feeling any discouragement, because I know, especially women out there, how many of you can relate to self-shaming
Oh,
and
yes.
just berating yourself and not loving yourself and all of those things, right? And I was very much in the habit of all of that. And every time I found myself being discouraged on my journey to wellness, I would remind myself, where I am right now is not where I'm going to be. Like, that was enough of a mindset to remember that I'm headed in that direction. I'm not going to keep living behind me. I'm moving forward. So whatever is weighing heavy on you, whether it's looking for a job, whether it's starting a new job, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, remind yourself, where I am now is not where I'm going to be. But then, of course, do the things that you need to do to shape that future that's in alignment at that high vibration. But just be kind to yourself, love yourself, and remind yourself that where you are today is not where you're going to be.
I
Whether
love
you
that.
want it to or not, I mean, it's a fundamental truth, right? Nothing stays the same, everything changes.
I'm
But
writing
it's a
that
nice,
down. That's a great mantra. Like,
yeah.
one of the
It, it,
things,
it, go ahead.
no, one of the things I was going to say is I have a lot of people reach out to me. It's like, I need affirmations, or how do you find an affirmation? And I know when I first started doing these in like 2007, 2010, I could Google all, there's so much out there now. It's hard to find stuff. So do you have like 3 or 4 affirmations that you think would be good for starters? Would you be willing to share, like, even?
That conversation has just gone all these fun places. Okay. So I'm a huge proponent of affirmations, because what you think about what you bring about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is proven that whatever follows I am, like that will become. So whatever you were telling yourself, I am whatever, good or bad, you are going to prove that. The universe will say, and so you are. The word abracadabra, literally translated, means, as I speak, so I shall create.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So magic, there's magic in your words. So what you speak, you are bringing into being. So be careful of your thoughts and your words that you're saying, especially those to yourself. So that's the first thing I would say about affirmations. I have taught I am statements for a long time, how to make powerful I am statements. I have recently, because I'm always evolving, I'm always looking for how do I grow from here,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've recently run across this amazingly powerful way to build out your statements. So this is a fantastic way to mess with your subconscious mind, because that's where all the magic happens, right? So for example, I am so successful. That could be an I am statement,
Mm-hmm.
right? I am so successful because, and then you're going to write down a list of all the things that you may or may not currently do that equals that success.
I love that. So it's the next step.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the next step. So then, for example, I accomplished so much because, and I can detail, that I do things right away rather than procrastinating. So that can, trick my procrastination. Or I am a master at following up. I put things back where they belong. All the different ways that I can accomplish so much. Those are the reasons why. But really, I mean, if you look at it, it ends up being kind of a daily to-do list, but it's not.
And it's high vibration.
How you need to show, it's a vibration, how you need to show up every single day. So then when I go to not put something away, I'm quick to remind myself that I accomplished so much because I always put the thing away where it belongs the first time. Oh. Right. And so then that reminds me to do that. So that in part then is why I accomplish so much every day. So try that little trick. And you can just start, and you can kind of piggyback some of those things too. I am so successful because I accomplish so much every day. Wow. Why do I accomplish so much every day? Right. So you can kind of have multiple pages. So when I spend time meditating on my positivity, I have those written out for myself where I've got the header and the reasons why I'm proving to myself that that's the thing. And so that's kind of how I've shifted into my I am statements or my affirmation statements.
You are a wealth of information and jewels and tips. And I'm so thankful that you were willing to spend some time with us today. We could probably talk for 7 days straight. but I think we're giving our listeners some really good starts to start 2021 off right, and really some life lessons and tools to continue moving forward, from the 3Ds to the affirmations to the importance of a word with your vision boards. I really want to thank you for being willing to take this journey as we figured out how we can give the most information to make the most impact in these women's lives. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, welcome. Hey, don't forget that we were going to give.
Oh yeah, we have the giveaway.
We do have a giveaway for every single person who's listening. I want you to experience what it's like to put that 3-dimensional gratitude into practice. Okay. So if you will go to www.sendoutcards, that's plural, cards.com/elevate. You will see a link there that says send a free card. I'm paying for it, the stamp, the card, everything. You get to send your message to anyone in the world. Take me up on it, change the world, share your gratitude, raise your vibration, all of those things.
And I will put the link in here so you guys can just click on it to go there as well. So it'll make it a little bit easier for everyone. But thank you so much for your time and your teaching and your knowledge. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, Crystal. Have an awesome day.
You too.